Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking with Chef Rich. Today we're going to be making a Latin chicken stew. Delish, really good. Can't wait to have dinner. Anyway, let's jump right in. We'll talk about our ingredients. I have 2 chickens cut up in 8s. I have some mirepoix, which is onions, celery, and carrots. I also have some chopped garlic. I have some red potatoes, which I will be cutting up in a bit. I have some flour to thicken our stew with. I have cilantro chopped, some diced tomatoes. I'm using chicken soup base, some oil, and some white wine. And we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna put the oil in a pot. And what we're gonna do first is we're gonna be browning off our chicken. So as soon as this starts to smoke, we're gonna start sauteing this to get it browned off. And I'll show you what to do as soon as this is hot in about a minute or two. See you shortly. I did screw up a little bit. I forgot to season my chicken, which is really important. So what we're gonna do, you'll notice as I'm doing this, I'm doing it from up high. The seasoning is what they call raining onto the chicken. I'm just using some salt and some pepper. If you have either Himalayan salt or kosher salt or sea salt, you can use that. If you don't have any of that, just use regular salt. Once again, I'm gonna go right across. Nice even layer. And I'm gonna get a glove and flip over my chicken. And season the other side. Kind of an oops on that one. Sorry, it happens. But on the bright side, as soon as I'm done seasoning, our oil will be hot and we can start sauteing. Nice layer of salt. A little bit of black pepper. And we're good to go. And our oil is now smoking, so we're going to start sauteing. You can see our oil is smoking. And this is going to saute probably for about a minute and a half, I'm going to guess, maybe even 2 minutes. Try to get nice and brown, and then I'm going to flip it over. And I'll show you what it looks like when I flip it. The chicken's been cooking for about a minute and a half, and it's ready to flip over. You notice that it's nice and brown. And by browning it, what we're doing is we're searing it, we're locking in the juices, basically. This guy has a little more, so I'm going to leave that guy right there. And he's fighting with me. He doesn't want to turn over. All right, there he goes. All right, that's better too. All right. As I said, by searing it, by getting a nice brown crisp, what it does is it seals in the juices, so when the chicken cooks, it remains juicy. So, anyway, this is going to cook for about another minute and a half, and I'll show you what it looks like. See you shortly. The other side of our chicken is nice and brown now. So I'm going to take this out. You notice I'm putting on some paper towel to absorb some of the grease. And we'll be using this in about 5 or 10 minutes. And we're going to add the rest of our chicken to this. And once again, this is going to cook for a minute and a half to 2 minutes on each side. So I'll see you in a few minutes. So the last of our chicken is coming out now. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start sauteing our vegetables. We're going to saute our vegetables for probably about 4 or 5 minutes, I'm guessing. You notice that where the chicken was, it's a little bit black. I'm just going to scrape that off. By putting the vegetables in, it kind of adds a little bit of, not water, but water comes out of the vegetables and it allows me to scrape this off the bottom. So I'm going to saute this, like I said, for about 5 minutes. I'm actually going to turn this down because I really don't want to brown it too much. I'm going to turn it down to medium and cook it out for about 5 minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like. See you shortly. So our vegetables have been cooking for right about 5 or 6 minutes now. You can see they're a little tender. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add our flour. And what this is going to do is I'm going to be making something called a roux. which is basically flour and oil or flour and butter. And what this is going to do is it's going to thicken our stew. Probably needs a drop more oil because it looks a little bit dry. So I'm going to, excuse me. Oops. Yeah, just a little bit more oil because it looks a little bit dry. And this is going to cook for just literally maybe 2 minutes. You want to cook the flour a little bit. I'll show you what it looks like in 2 minutes. So our flour has been cooking actually just for about 1.5 minutes or so. And I'm going to do something called deglaze the pan with some white wine, which is just basically pouring some wine in and getting out any of the spots where it's stuck. Like see over here where it's kind of stuck to the pan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push the wine over there and that's going to come off hopefully. It's called deglazing. Whatever's stuck is actually, there's a lot of flavoring in that. It's called fond in French. And there, like I said, there is a lot of flavoring, so you want to keep all that. Like so. Put that out. And the next thing we're going to be adding is our tomatoes. Good. This for a minute or so. If you don't want to use fresh tomatoes, you can use tomato paste is very good, or tomato sauce. Most stews have some type of tomato product in them. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some water. I'm using a chicken base. You can use chicken stock if you have chicken stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this up to a boil. And once it comes up to a boil, I will show you what to do next with it. So I'll see you in probably about 5 minutes, I'm guessing. See you shortly. So our water is just coming up to a simmer. And at this point, I'm going to add my chicken base and just stir this in. You notice it's actually starting to get thick already from the flour. It's not as watery as it was before. And as it cooks, it'll actually get a little bit more thicker. So I'm going to bring this up to a full simmer and show you what to do next in probably about 2 minutes. See you shortly. Coming up to a simmer, I tasted it. Salt is very good. The chicken base is very good. I neglected to put some pepper in, so I'm going to put some black pepper in and give it a stir. You also want to be stirring this at this point, because if you don't stir it, it will actually burn very, very easy because it is starting to get thick. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our chicken back in. Just turn this down at this point. And actually, oops, forgot to stir my cilantro in. So, very forgetful today. Cilantro is going to give it a really, really nice flavor. That's a nice stir. And we'll continue with our chicken. Leave the paper towel out. And lastly, our potatoes. So I'm going to add just 2 cups of water to this, just so everything's totally covered. I'm going to stir this in. And I'm using a really huge pot, so I don't actually have a lid for this. I'm going to use some tin foil to cover it with. I do have to bring it back up to a boil because I just added water. So this has to cook for just another 2 minutes. So I'm going to bring it back up to a boil. I'm going to cover it and stick it in the oven. So I'll see you shortly. So our stew is just coming up to a simmer. As you can see, it's starting to simmer nicely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this. Be careful when you cover it. It is on the hot side, definitely. We're going to actually turn off the heat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sticking this in a 375-degree oven, probably for, I'm going to guess, an hour. And we'll check it in an hour, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I'll see you shortly. So our chicken stew just came out of the oven. I left it in right for about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. The biggest thing is making sure your potatoes are fully cooked. By the time the potatoes are cooked, the chicken is also done. So anyway, I put it on a plate. I made some rice to go with it. And when I'm done with this video, my dinner is served. So I'm very, very happy. I'm gonna try the potatoes first because I love potatoes. Flavoring's great, perfectly cooked, not too soft, not too hard, perfect. Now chicken. You notice that the chicken is just very, very tender, almost falls right off the bone. Really, really, really good. The cilantro, garlic, all those flavors come together really, really nice and just gives it a great, great flavor. So you'll really like this dish. Really wonderful dish. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends, leave your comments down below, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Take care, be safe.